Hey there, fishing friends and fellow anglers. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the much-anticipated fishing forecast for New Zealand, covering the week from Monday, September 29th, to Sunday, October 5th, 2025. This week is shaping up to be a real mixed bag, throwing everything from calm, rising waters to blustery, rainy conditions at us. But don't you worry, my friends, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to turn these changeable conditions to your advantage. I've scoured the internet for the most up-to-date weather patterns, moon phases, and fish behaviors, and I promise you some truly surprising insights that will make your next trip to the water a success. So grab a cuppa, lean back, and let's get into it, because this week in New Zealand's waters is going to be, well, let's just say it's going to keep us on our toes. Now let's talk about the stars of our show, the fish. In New Zealand during late spring, we've got a fantastic array of species that are starting to really wake up or are already quite active. I've picked out 4 key players that I think will offer the best opportunities this week. First up, for our North Island friends, let's talk about snapper. As the water slowly warms towards that magical 16 degrees Celsius, 61 degrees Fahrenheit mark, snapper are starting their pre-spawning and spawning migrations. You'll find them congregating around rocky reefs, deeper channels, and sometimes even in surprisingly shallow areas where baitfish are abundant. The trick is to find those temperature breaks or areas with good current. For tackle, a good quality stray lining setup with a 7 to 9 foot rod and a 4 to 6,000 size spinning reel is ideal. Use a relatively light sinker to let your bait drift naturally. As for bait, pilchards, squid, and fresh kahawai strips are always top performers. If you're into soft plastic, 7-inch jerk shads in natural colors can be deadly when retrieved slowly along the bottom. My little trick? Look for areas where the water depth changes rapidly, like drop-offs and the edges of reefs. These are natural highways for migrating snapper. Next, we can't forget about the mighty kingfish, While some of the larger specimens might be heading offshore for spawning as water temperatures approach 17 degrees Celsius, 63 degrees Fahrenheit, there are still plenty of hungry post-spawn fish returning to inshore waters and a good number of resident fish. Target them around prominent headlands, deep reef structures, tidal rips where baitfish are schooling. Live baiting is king for these guys. A lively yellowtail or kahawai pinned through the nose is your best bet. If you prefer lures, stick baits and poppers around rocky outcrops during dawn and dusk can produce explosive strikes. A heavy-duty jigging setup is also essential for deeper water, using jigs from 150 to 300 grams. Remember, kingfish love structure and current, so finding those areas is key. For our freshwater enthusiasts, especially in the South Island and the North Island's Central Plateau, trout, both rainbow and brown, are becoming incredibly active. Spring sees them moving closer to the surface in lakes and becoming very active in rivers and streams, hungry after the winter. Focus on river mouths in the lakes, rocky shorelines, and areas where feeder streams enter the main body of water, as these are spots where food gathers. For lake fishing, casting and spinning with small metal lures, soft plastics, or wobblers near the shorelines can be highly effective. In rivers, fly fishing with weighted nymphs or streamers will work wonders, especially in the runs and pools. Browns, particularly, are actively feeding post-spawning. Look for water temperatures between 10 and 18 degrees Celsius, 50 and 64 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal activity. Finally, the ever-reliable kahawai are a fantastic target across both islands. They are highly active in spring, often found in large schools chasing baitfish near river mouths, surf beaches, and in sheltered bays. Kahawai are absolute fighters and great fun on light tackle. For shore-based anglers, surf casting with metal lures, particularly silver slices or small poppers, will get their attention. If you're on a boat, trolling small rapalas or casting soft plastics into busting schools of baitfish is incredibly effective. They're not picky eaters, and their aggressive nature makes them a reliable catch, especially when the weather is a bit wild. All right, my friends, let's talk about the science behind the bite, the conditions, weather. This week, New Zealand is in for a fairly unsettled period. We're looking at moderate air temperatures, generally ranging from 8 to 19 degrees Celsius, 47 to 66 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the key factor will be the atmospheric pressure, which is going to be quite volatile. We'll see drops early in the week and again from Thursday onwards, often coinciding with significant rainfall. The winds will be predominantly northwesterly or northerly, with some strong gusts, especially in exposed coastal areas. This means choppy seas and potentially challenging casting conditions. Frequent showers and widespread rain are predicted, particularly from Thursday through Saturday. What does this mean for fish? Sharp pressure drops can often make fish finicky, sending them deeper or making them less inclined to feed actively. Strong winds will stir up the water, which can dislodge food but also make visibility poor, affecting sight feeders. Water temperature. In spring, water temperatures are gradually rising, but they're still on the cooler side. The average sea temperature around Auckland in September is 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Inland, lakes and rivers are also warming up, bringing trout out of their winter sluggishness. The slight increase in temperature encourages baitfish to move inshore, which in turn attracts predatory species like snapper, kingfish, and kahawai. Cooler water means fish metabolisms are not at their peak summer speed, so they might be less aggressive in their feeding, requiring slower retrieves and more natural presentations. Moon phase. This week starts with a first quarter moon on Monday, September 29th, where the moon will be about 45% illuminated and growing. We then transition into a waxing gibbous phase, leading up to a full moon on October 6th, right at the end of our forecast period. According to fishing law, the period around the first quarter and leading up to the full moon often provides excellent fishing with increased tidal movements and fish activity. The stronger tides associated with a waxing moon can stir up bait and encourage predators to feed more actively. General fish activity. Spring is truly an awakening. Baitfish schools are migrating towards the shallows, providing ample food for predators. Snapper are in pre-spawning or spawning mode, making them a key target. Kingfish are also on the hunt, especially post-spawn. Trout, both rainbow and brown, are very active in the freshwater systems, moving to warmer, shallower areas after winter. Species like kahawai, gurnard, and rig are becoming more prevalent in coastal waters. Now for the moment of truth, the daily breakdown. Remember, these are my best predictions based on the data, but fishing always has its surprises. Monday, September 29th. The day starts with showers, especially in the south, easing but remaining cloudy. Strong northwesterly winds in Wellington, easing, and moderate northwesterlies in Auckland. Atmospheric pressure will be dropping. Expect a medium to capricious bite. The dropping pressure and unsettled weather might make fish a bit finicky, but the first quarter moon could offer some short windows of activity, particularly for trout in calmer lake edges and for kahawai in sheltered bays. Tuesday, September 30th. We're looking at partly cloudy conditions with northerly winds developing. Temperatures remain moderate, between 11 and 16 degrees Celsius, 52 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmospheric pressure will be stable to slightly rising after Monday's drop. I'd rate the bite as medium. The stabilizing pressure is a positive sign, but the northerly winds could still make it challenging. Target areas with some protection from the wind. Snapper might be deeper, but trout could be more active in lakes. Wednesday, October 1st. Mostly partly cloudy with a chance of light rain. Northwesterly winds easing and temperatures ranging from 8 to 17 degrees Celsius, 47 to 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmospheric pressure will be rising. This looks like a good big day for fishing. The rising pressure often signals improved feeding. Focus on deeper water for snapper and river mouths or drop-offs for trout and kahawai. Thursday, October 2nd. Rain becomes widespread, especially in the afternoon and evening with strong northwesterly winds. Atmospheric pressure drops significantly. Expect a weak to capricious bite. The combination of dropping pressure, rain, and strong winds will make conditions tough and fish less cooperative. Focus on pre-front feeding windows if you can get out early, or target sheltered river sections for trout. Friday, October 3rd. Widespread rain and showers continue with northerly winds. Temperatures are moderate, between 12 and 19 degrees Celsius, 53 and 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmospheric pressure remains low. Another weak to capricious day, friends. Persistent low pressure and rain generally suppress fish activity. If you venture out, try very slow presentations in deeper water for snapper, or use natural baits for kahawai in highly agitated areas where food might be dislodged. Saturday, October 4th. Heavy rain with strong northwesterly winds across much of the country. Atmospheric pressure is low and unstable. This is looking like a poor to practically absent day for fishing. The adverse conditions are likely to put most fish down. This might be a good day to tie some rigs, check your gear, or plan for better weather. If you must fish, target very sheltered estuaries or try for rig from surf beaches, as they are often less affected by pressure changes. Sunday, October 5th. Showers begin to ease and conditions become partly cloudy, though northwesterly winds persist. Temperatures cool slightly to between 9 and 16 degrees Celsius, 49 and 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmospheric pressure starts to rise and we are nearing a full moon. This signals a recovering to good bite. As the weather clears and pressure rises, fish should become more active. The approaching full moon will also contribute to increased feeding. This could be a fantastic day to get out, especially for snapper and kingfish, if the sea state allows, and for trout in inland waters. So there you have it, my friends, a roller coaster of a week, but with some solid opportunities if you pick your days and tactics wisely. Remember, even on the toughest days, just being out on the water is a win in itself. So I wish you all tight lines and ni vosta ni cheshwi. May your hooks be sharp and your coolers full. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more forecasts, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my tips. And tell me in the comments below, what are your plans for fishing this week in New Zealand? What are your go-to spring baits or lures? I love hearing your stories and sharing our passion for fishing. See you out on the water or in the next video.